Welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how to craft a legendary green steel item and how to use the legendary green steel crafting planner. So right now I am in the basement of Meridia here at the Altar of Fecundity, and this is where you're going to be making your legendary green steel blanks. I also just realized that you can make your legendary green steel blanks at the Altar of Fecundity on your guild ship if you have the green steel crafting hall. But you cannot do any of the tiers on your ship amenity, at least as of the making of this video. You do have to craft your 3 tiers in Legendary Shroud. So at the Altar of Fecundity in the basement of Meridia, or on your ship, just click on the altar and then type in the word legendary, or you can just click on the thing to show the full list. But we're only interested in the legendary stuff right now, not the heroic, because this is also where you craft your heroic blanks. Now, crafting a legendary green steel blank is much easier than the heroic stuff. The heroic stuff, there are all these base ingredients that you needed. You don't need any of that. There aren't any epic versions of those base ingredients like the pebbles and the twigs and stuff like that. And you don't need power cells. So you just type in legendary, and then the list of legendary stuff comes up, and all your weapons are there. Hand wraps aren't an option. Hopefully those will be added in the future. And you know, you can't. There's you know, all your other gear too, but you can't. There's no such thing as like a green steel ring or a green steel trinket. But there is everything else. So just scroll down whatever you want. You know, like I just made a scimitar, and oh, why isn't that not coming up? Oh, because I have to type in green steel. In any event, let's see, where's it at? There we go. Legendary green steel scimitar. So it just costs 100 codex runes, which you get, you know, from the end chest and shroud. And you also get a few of these from the flagging quest to curse the sky and creeping doom. Or is it creeping death? Creeping doom is the spell. Creeping death is the is the quest. So 100 codex runes and 100 commendations of valor. And you just click there, hit mix magically, and then your blank comes up. And then you take it into the shroud and craft on it. One of the things I want to make sure to make a note of is that the blanks are bound to character. So the old green steel blanks were bind on equip. These are bound to character right away, so make sure you make it on the tune that you want it for. You cannot pass it, and you cannot sell these on the auction house. Alright, well, the rest of the crafting I have to do inside the legendary shroud. So I'm going to be doing that tonight, and I'll pick up the video in the shroud when we're done. Okay, legendary shroud was a success. No, I didn't solo it. I just waited for all my guildies to leave before I started the video. So the first thing I want to say is that you're going to be using ingredients that have a similar name to the heroic shroud ingredients. So you got like legendary lengths of infernal chain, legendary large twisted shrapnel, legendary large sulfur stones. So it's the same, you know, chains, stones, shrapnel, you know, bones, and they come in legendary small, legendary medium, and legendary large. Now, like I've already said, when I made the base item, there aren't any legendary versions of the base ingredients, so like pebbles and twigs and fungus and that stuff. It's just, you know, just the bones and the double scales and stuff. And the legendary versions are all bound to account. So you can pass them among your alts, but you're not going to be able to get them off the auction house or get them from a friend. So those are all the ingredients we're going to be using. There aren't any, you know, power cells or whatever they were called like you needed for heroic. The Shavrath energy cells. I also want to show you that some people don't know, especially if you're a little bit newer, that, you know, when you're at the end of Shroud, you can go back to the earlier parts. These 4 portals in the back here, at the end of part 5, these all take you to the different parts. So you could, and if you look at, if you click on the portal, see it says Portal of the Full Moons, and over here it says Portal of the Waxing Moons. And if you don't know the part by name, then what you can do is, you know, just click on it And look at the little picture in the circle over here in the lower right hand corner, and it shows you a picture of the part. So like Portal of the Waning Moons is part 1, and you can tell there's the little archway there that's in part 1. There it is again in the splash loading screen, and there's that archway up there. Alright, let's go to the Tier 1 altar. I would recommend bringing your ingredients with you. I'm not sure if this will pull from the shared crafting storage bank, but I know that sometimes crafting out of that can be a little wonky. Like if you have some of the ingredients in your bag and some of them in your shared bank, you know, you don't have enough in your bag. Bottom line is that just to be on the safe side, I would recommend you making sure that you have your ingredients on your toon instead of relying getting from the shared storage, because once you leave Shroud, you can't come back in. You can't go to the, after you're done, you can't go, oh, I got to get something out of the bank and come back in. That's not going to work. Have your ingredients with you. Alright, so we click on the altar here. And, you know, you look at the list and it's all, you know, similar. If you've crafted Heroic Green Steel, it's, you know, it is definitely more intuitive. So, you know, inferior focus of earth, inferior focus of air, but this could be very confusing if you're new to it. Like, what the hell does all this crap mean? Well, you don't really need to know what all these little things do. All you need to do is go to your Green Steel Crafting Planner, YourDDO. Thanks for putting this together, guys. It's a really awesome tool. And with this crafting planner, you can, you know, experiment and see what you can put on, you know, different things. So, you know, if I want to make a belt, brings up all the different tiers, you know, it shows you all the different things that you can put on here. Tier 2, here's all the different things that you put on here. You select whatever you want, and then this is going to tell you how to make it. And I'm going to go over all that because I'm going to make an actual item here on the video. Another great resource is the DDO Wiki entry. And so this is a Legendary Green Steel entry on DDO Wiki. You have to have DDO Wiki bookmarked. It's the best, single best resource for DDO. And, you know, if you want to read through all this, there's, you know, one of the things I want to mention now is I'm just going to go over how to craft, you know, a single item. One of the reasons why I hesitated to make a Legendary Green Steel crafting video is because some of it's a little enigmatic to me. In fact, I think some of it may still not be known to the community. In fact, things came out, you know, in the months following the release of Legendary Shroud. You know, like for example, people didn't notice that there were set bonuses right away, and there's actually multiple kinds of set bonuses. There's a 2-piece set bonus, there's a 4-piece set bonus, and there's a 5-piece set bonus. And I don't know how all that stuff works, so I'm not going to even try to explain it. I'll mention a little bit about the 2-piece, but like the write-up in Wiki about how the 4-piece works, it isn't even really clear to me. You know, here's where it talks about the 4-piece set bonus, and there's 5-piece set bonus. So, you know, if you're going to want to get into those, you know, more advanced set bonuses, which is, you know, going to take a lot of resources to get there, but you know, you're definitely going to do some research to make sure you get it right, because you don't want to waste, you know, a ton of resources and months of grinding, and then you don't have your set bonus set up correctly. But I'm just going to be sticking with, you know, how to craft, you know, a single item. And I'll also mention a little bit about the 2-piece set bonus, because I do understand how that works. And here you can go, you know, if you want to see what the Tier 1 recipes are, it shows you like on a piece of equipment or on a weapon. It's different properties. You know, it can be the same, you know, augment, but if it's on a piece of equipment versus a weapon, it's going to have different properties. So for example, just this first, you know, one here on the list, you know, electric spell critical 20% if it was on a piece of equipment, but you can't get that on a weapon. On a weapon it would be 150 electric spell power. And then, you know, you can look at Tier 2 stuff here, Tier 3 stuff, and then your weapon bonus effects. All the different stuff, like Legendary Water, Legendary Affirmation is a very popular one. I'm going to be making a Legendary Earth. So where's that on this list? Legendary Earth. Attacks and offensive spells deal stacking acid damage over time. Half-second cooldown. I guess these were pretty ridiculous when it first came out, so that's why it's saying here as of update 29, patch 1, about 250 damage at full stacks. So I'm playing around with, see what I want my new weapon to be. I'm just going to play around with this, give it a try, see how it works out. You know, Thunderforged, in terms of caster stick, is getting a little outdated now that we have the Slaver's gear, so I'm just experimenting with different options. So I'm going to be making a Legendary Earth Scimitar. Just like with old green steel, or heroic green steel, if you're trying to work toward like a tier 3 bonus effect, it can be helpful, really helpful, to sort of craft backwards, or at least when you use the crafting planner, work backwards. So what I mean by that, I'm gonna reset this. Actually, you could just reset the tiers or reset all right here instead of reloading the screen. So I'm going to pick a scimitar. Okay. And then I'm going to go right to the tier 3 bonus effect and pick Legendary Earth. And what that will do is lock in the pull down menus to only show the options that will work toward that goal. So in order to get to Legendary Earth, the only tier 3 things I could possibly put on there is this little list right here. The only tier 2 things that would work towards a Legendary Earth are right here, and the only tier 1 things, properties that would work towards Legendary Earth are right here. So again, if you're working towards a tier 3 bonus effect, select that first in the crafting planner, and that's going to be a giant help. I'm going to put the link to this in the video description. Okay, so I have Legendary Earth selected, and I'm just going to make a Wisdom stick. So here I'm going to pick Exceptional 2 Wisdom. This is for a Druid. And then now I've got Insightful 7 Wisdom, and then 15 enhancement bonus to Wisdom. Okay, so this is what it's going to have. It's going to have 15 enhancement bonus to Wisdom, plus 7 insightful bonus to Wisdom, and plus 2 exceptional Wisdom. And that will all lead me to the Legendary Earth, which says attacks and offensive spells deal stacking acid damage over time. If you scroll down, oh, and by the way, there is this active augment upgrade. This is basically a clicky that you can add to a green steel weapon or accessory. Overall, I think the list is pretty underwhelming. You can take a look at it. You don't have to add that. In fact, you don't have to add, you know, you can craft it in any order. You can craft any tiers in any order. You could just craft a clicky, for example. You could make a green steel blank and just use like a, you know, an animate ally clicky if you want to grief your friends, for example. My guildie has done that. It's made a bunch of those so he can animate ally when we die, and then he raises us as a zombie, and then we all yell at him. It's this little game we play. But like I said, so you could just add a clicky, make a clicky out of it, or if you just want to, you know, add a tier 1 and 2 property, you don't care about anything, you can do that, for example. Alright, so if we scroll down, it's going to show everything that you need. So this is tier 1 right here, and these are all the ingredients that will be needed, and the quantities here. We also need commendations of valor. And so what it's showing you here is that we need to make a legendary inferior focus of earth, a legendary diluted ethereal essence, and a legendary cloudy gem of escalation. And those are the 3 things that we need to craft in order to make our tier 1 augment. Okay, so let's do that now. So legendary focus of earth. I'm at the altar of invasion. This is tier 1, and I'm just going to type in earth. Legendary inferior focus of earth. Just click on that. It's going to pull the stuff right out of your bag and click forge. And then that's going to go in the bag. There is my legendary inferior focus of earth. Clear that out. What was the next thing that I needed? I need a legendary diluted ethereal essence. This stuff sounds complicated, but you know, you don't need to know. You know, you just do what it says, you know, and it'll lead you on a good path. Don't get caught up in the names. I already forgot what I was supposed to make. Legendary diluted ethereal essence. Okay. We're just going to type ether. And there it is, Legendary Diluted Ethereal Essence. Forge. And there it is in my bag. And let's see, what's the third thing I need? A Cloudy Gem of Escalation. Now I said don't get caught up in the names, but actually I want you to make a little bookmark in your mind right now, because I'm going to be referring to these different names after I get done making the item when I talk about the set bonuses. So, you know, like Focus of Earth, or Ethereal, or Escalation, or Opposition, or Material, or whatever it is. I'm going to be referring to that. So this is what it's when I talk about like an opposition set bonus, I'm talking about like, you know, a gem of opposition, for example, or like here is a gem of escalation. Okay, so I need a legendary cloudy gem of escalation. Escalation, there it is, forge. And there are the three things that I need. I'm going to pop those guys out of my bag. Okay. And I'm just going to show you, it says combine all of the manufacturing ingredients above in the legendary altar of invasion. So I'm going to put all three of these in here. Double check your work, you know, make sure you have the right ones if you're a little bit newer to this. And this is a very important point. Notice that when I put the three in here, there are two different options that come up. One is for a weapon and one is for equipment. Make sure that you click the right one because they're not compatible with each other. In this case, I want the weapon augment because I'm making that scimitar. So click on weapon augment and forge. There's my tier 1. That's going to lead me to that legendary earth weapon. Okay. Now you can't actually put them on the green steel item inside the shroud. And I'll just demonstrate that. The way that you put them on, it's not actually in the altar like Heroic Shroud. You drag your green steel over here into this little box on your inventory sheet, and then it pulls up. And then what you do is you just drag your augment over into your green steel. But it says you can only insert augments into slots in public areas, so we're not going to be able to do that now. We'll do it when we get done. But that's our tier 1 augment, and now we can run to the tier 2 altar at part 3 of Shroud. Alright, here I am at the legendary altar of subjugation at the end of Shroud, Legendary Shroud part 3. So let's see. Now we're going to scroll down to the tier 2 augment upgrade, and this tells you the ingredients you need and the quantities, and here's what you got to make: a legendary focus of earth, a legendary ethereal essence, and a legendary gem of escalation. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's the same ones from before, except these were the inferior, diluted, and cloudy versions, and these are sort of the regular versions. Okay, legendary focus earth, ethereal, and escalation. Click on there. Earth. Ethereal. And escalation. Let's just check our work. Earth, ethereal, and escalation. Okay, great. Earth, ethereal, escalation. Pop them out of the bag. Click on the altar. Pop them in here. Once again, you have a weapon option or equipment option. We want the weapon option, very important. Hand forge. There it be. Now I'm going to head to the tier 3 altar at the end of part 5. Here's the legendary altar of Devastation at the end of Legendary Shroud part 5. And so we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to double check with our planner. Now there are more things to craft. So one of the things that I want to emphasize is that in Heroic Green Steel, there were these like double sharded tier 3 properties, and it was really easy to mess up. You know, you'd have to craft 2 different shards, and then you had to add them to your green steel at the same time, and if you just added one and then tried to add the other, it screwed it up. And so a lot of people who are new to Heroic Shroud crafting screwed up their tier 3 because they didn't know they had to add them both at the same time, or excuse me, combine them first and then add it. They did away with that. Yay. But they just basically added extra ingredients, you know, to make the augment that you want. So now we need a legendary superior focus of earth, and another legendary superior focus of earth, and a legendary pure ethereal essence, and a legendary flawless gem of escalation. So it's the same as before, earth, ethereal, escalation, but now I need 2 earths. Earth. Yes. And yes. Clear that out. Now we need ethereal. Getting low on ingredients. Boom. Clear that out. And now we want escalation. Okay, let's get those out of our bag. So now I'm gonna pop the 2 stack in there and the others. And let's see here. Looks like I have multiple things that I could pick here. So make sure you pick the right one. Tier 3 weapon effect. Earth arrow. No, that's not what I want. So the tooltip here, you can see this goes right off the screen, but this is the one I want. So this is actually, I don't know why, if it's maybe just because of the way that I have it stacked. Let's see if that's why multiple things are showing up. So I'm going to split that up and put them in there one at a time, just to see if it does narrow the options down. Okay, so that makes it a little bit less confusing. So split the stack just to avoid making mistakes. Now, if you notice when I had the double stack in there, those other options were different ingredients anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to select those, but it could lead to some confusion. So when you split them up like this, that's the only option, is the tier 3 weapon augment. Click Forge. Alright, so there's my tier 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to exit the shroud and pop them on there. But one of the things I want to mention first is, let's see, we're going to go all the way to the end here, and I want to show you that there's this option to get an Immortal Heart, and that costs 5,000 of the Codex runes. Okay, and those are the things you get out of the end chest here. Well, what the Immortal Heart does is it takes the place of that cleansing essence that you used to get from your 20th completion of Heroic Shroud. You don't get anything special for 20th completions of Legendary Shroud. They replaced that system with these runes that allow you to, in this case, allows the only thing these Codex runes are for are buying the Immortal's Heart. And just like with heroic green steel, you don't need to cleanse a weapon. Weapons just feed on the blood of their victims, but items do have to be cleansed. So, and if they're not cleansed, if you try to wear multiple uncleansed green steel items, you're going to take constant damage. You're going to tick for constant damage. And so, just to show you, if I take this set of bracers that I have, and down here, the Fangs of Shavarath is where you want to put that that cleansing thing, whatever the hell it was called, Immortal Heart. Yeah, so when you get the Immortal Heart, it goes right there. One of the nice things about Legendary Green Steel is you can actually craft over top of an existing piece. So like these bracers, for example, if I decided I don't want that tier 1 property anymore, I could just make a new tier 1 shard and overwrite it. Really nice. You can also get extractors out of the DDO store to pull it out. If you wanted to save it, maybe the tier 3, which is more expensive with the larges and all, if you wanted to pull that out for later use, and look at these, they are bound to account, so you could potentially move more to another tune. So you can extract it, buying something from a store called a legendary green steel extractor, or you can just overwrite it. Alright, now I'm going to exit the shroud and make the weapon. Alright, now that we're in a public zone, we can add our augments to our green steel scimitar. And it doesn't matter what order, remember, I said that earlier. So I'll put the tier 3 on there. Yes, I'd like to do that. And then I'll put the tier 1 on there. Yes, I'd like to do that. And the tier 2. I sure would like to do that. And this active slot, that's just for that clicky I talked about earlier. Unfortunately, when you examine these, they don't show up. All the properties don't show up like an old green steel item. Hopefully they'll fix that someday. You can get I guess a better look at it. If you drag it down here, you can examine each of the tiers. But they're just, as you can see, it says Insightful Wisdom 7 there, Enhancement Bonus 15. So that's one way you can get a closer look at it. But just by hovering over it, you don't really get much of anything out of it. But do notice that, well, let's see. I don't even know if anything on here is displaying properly. In any event, you're not going to get much information out of that. So here's my legendary green steel earth. I can't wait to try this out. And I will be doing a video demonstrating that soon. So look for that if you're interested to see how it performs. There is something else that I want to talk about, and that is those set bonuses, just very briefly in the wiki article. And like I said, I don't fully understand them, so if you want to make these these set bonuses, please do some research on your own. I don't have any set bonuses on this tune to show you as an example, but so here are the 2-piece set bonuses. You got the Dominion 2-piece, the Escalation 2-piece, and the Opposition set 2-piece. So remember earlier when we were making the different tiers, and there was like the Cloudy Gem of Escalation, and so that's what this is talking about. So like I had Escalation in all 3 tiers. So if I made another item that had Escalation in all 3 tiers, and actually this is for the set bonuses are for equipment only, so the weapons don't count towards that. But if I had made a piece of equipment that had, say, Escalation in all 3 tiers, and then I made another one that had Escalation in all 3 tiers, then I would get a +3 to maximum dodge. Or if they had Opposition in all 3 tiers in 2 different pieces, I could get up to a +18% hit points. Or Dominion in all 3 tiers, you get +18% spell points. And they actually continue to stack. The more items that you have with the Dominion, Escalation, Opposition in the different tiers, you can get, like I have a guildie that has a whole bunch. There's a 5-piece set bonus, and he's rocking a 36% bonus to hit points. Pretty crazy. So it just keeps going up. And it doesn't have to be all 3 tiers with Opposition, for example. You could just even have just one of the tiers, and then that would just give you if you had one tier on one piece and one tier on another piece, that would give you a 10% hit point bonus, for example. So down here it talks about the 4-piece set bonus. It looks like there's a melee crit damage bonus, a spell crit damage bonus, and corporeality bonus. And then down here is a 5-piece set bonus. It says that this appears when you have both the 2- and 4-piece bonuses active. And so you can read about that. I have no experience with making these or using these. So, like I said, you want to do some research on your own if you're interested in those. One of the things you want to be aware of is in order to have like a 5-piece set bonus, that means 4 of those pieces have to be cleansed. You can wear 1 uncleansed green steel, but not multiples. That's when you start taking the damage. So you can have 4 cleansed pieces plus 1 uncleansed piece. That means you need 4 of those cleansing Immortal Heart things. That's 20,000 Codex runes. So that's a really, really big investment. But you do have those options. I want you to be aware of that. Hope maybe there's some information on the forums. There probably is. That's pretty much all that I want to go over. It's also worth mentioning that you can purchase from the DDO store the Tier 1 and Tier 2 ingredients. So your smalls and your mediums, but larges aren't available from there. Well, I hope that helps you out there that haven't crafted Legendary Green Steel yet and that you hope to someday. Hope that clears things up a bit. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you are on Sarlona, you're welcome to send me a tell.